Are you ready for round 2 of Commoner decks for the new Outsiders Heroes? Let me start this deck tag by saying that my goal isn't necessarily to make the strongest decks possible, but rather to make fun decks. And while I haven't tried this deck yet, it's on its way in the mail though, I would say that it falls in the meme deck category. But that doesn't mean that it's not working or that it's bad. What makes this even more of a meme deck is that it's all red and our average resource cost is 0.1. The average attack power and block value are also identical at 2.4. We do play buffs for our attacks though, so no worries there. Overall, it's just a weird and fun deck, and because of that, losing won't really feel all that bad if we do. Before we take a look at our hero and deck, there are of course 2 things to do. First, let's take a look at the price of the deck. Riptide and Driftwood Quiver are not included because for some reason you can't buy those on card market right now, or only cold foil versions, but when they'll be available they won't cost more than 10 cents each, I guess. And if we go by that, we've got a new cheapest commoner deck on the channel. €2.96 for the available cards, plus let's say another 20 cents for the missing 2 makes this a total of €3.16. Somebody play the Stone Cold Steve Austin entrance here. Now, second of all, of course, like the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy what you see, because there will be a lot more Commoner and Budget Blitz deck tech videos coming your way. And also, you'll make me smile if you do. How nice of you! So, our hero for this week's episode is the handsome Riptide. He has 4 intelligence and 19 health. Lost 1 point along the way somewhere. His first ability lets us put a card from our hand into our arsenal face down whenever we play a card from hand. And like with Azuri, this ability will be front and center in this deck. It enables me to finally give a home to all those generic cards that never make the cut because they only have go again if they're played from arsenal. On the other hand, these cards are still the reason why this is more of a meme deck. Ah well. Riptide also has a second ability. Whenever a trap we control triggers, we deal 1 damage to the attacking hero. More on that later when we get to the actual traps in the deck. Our weapon is the rare Redliner. It has a once per turn action for 0 resources. If we have no cards in arsenal, we put an arrow from our hand face up into arsenal. Go again. While Riptide's ability also helps us get cards into arsenal, sometimes we really need to get an arrow into arsenal to kick off a powerful turn. And Redliner is the perfect tool for that in an all-red deck. Outsiders saw the addition of a Quiver slot, which we'll of course use. Driftwood Quiver has an instant ability. Destroy Driftwood Quiver, put a card from arsenal on the bottom of your deck. That's it. Kinda underwhelming, but it has some fringe use cases. Also, it's the only Quiver Riptide can use in Commoner, so there's that. For our head slot we have Mask of Malicious Manifestations, or MAM in short. If we pay 1 resource, put a card from our hand or arsenal on the bottom of our deck and destroy MAM, we can reveal cards from the top of our deck until we reveal an attack action card, put that into our hand and then shuffle. Go again. It also has Blade Break and blocks for 1. If we need to, we can switch that out for Nullrune Hood. For our chest slot we only have Deep Blue. If we put a card from our hand on the bottom of our deck and destroy Deep Blue, we get 3 resources. Keep this around for a big turn that needs those resources, and then you can turn one of your red hand cards into a blue. Absolutely amazing in this deck. 10 out of 10 deep and blue. In our arm slot we have 3 equipments, because I honestly can't decide, so I'll leave that choice to you. First we have Bullseye Bracers. We can destroy them, and like Redliner, if we have no cards in arsenal, we may put an arrow from our hand face up into arsenal. But it even gains +1 attack until end of turn. Go again. It even has Arcane Barrier 1, so it's a good choice for those matchups. Second, we have Stubby Hammerers, only legal in Commoner. They can be destroyed to give attack action cards with base attack 3 or less +1 attack that turn. Go again. since 12 of our 26 attack action cards have 3 attack and we want to go wide, this can be a very powerful tool. Third, and let me say sorry, but the explanation might be a bit long and tedious, Iron Rod Gauntlet. It blocks for 1, then it's gone. And the last equipment piece is for our leg slot and is, of course, Snapdragon Scalers. It can be destroyed as an attack reaction to give target attack action card with cost 1 or less go again. In this deck, that's every attack action card. Of our 26 attack action cards, only 8 are arrows. 6 of those arrows have a resource cost of 1, the only cards with a resource cost in this deck. This is their story. Hamstring Shot deals 5 damage and if it hits a hero, their first attack during their next turn costs 1 additional resource to play. Much like the next arrow, you can think of this as a combat chain finisher. Widowmaker deals 4 damage and defense reactions can't be played to its chain link. If it's defended by fewer than 2 cards, it has +3 attack for a total of 7. The last 1 resource card is Sikkim Shot. It deals 4 damage and has Go Again. And really, Go Again is what we're after in this deck. From here on, every card will cost 0 resources. The last arrow is Falcon Wing, which deals 3 damage. We can ignore its ability because we are not getting any aim counters, but it has Go Again. And like I said, that's what we want. And we want it for free. We also play a single dual class card. I had to look up how to pronounce this card and I still think that it's wrong, but you know, sue me I guess. Virulent Touch is a Ranger Assassin attack action that deals 4 damage. It reads, when this chain link resolves, if Virulent Touch is defended by a card from hand, create a Bloodrot Pox token under the defending hero's control. So most likely they either take the 4 damage, take 3 damage at the end of their turn, or they have to use hand cards to pay 3 resources to deal with the Bloodrot Pox token without taking damage. Now, as for the generic cards, let's start with those that actually get played a lot. Scar for Scar and Ravenous Rebel see play in so many decks that we're not going over what they do. Let's just summarize: Go Again, most likely at least. Overload sees less play than those two, but it has a solid spot with certain heroes, like Briar for example. It deals 3 damage and has Dominate, and if it hits, it gains Go Again. Of course we want to buff this card's damage since Dominate drastically increases our chances to then hit with it and go again. Once a rare but reduced to mere common status, Seek Horizon hits for 4. While it technically costs 0 resources, if we want to give it Go Again, we can put a card from our hand on the top of our deck to do so. Otherwise, just use it to close the combat chain with a free attack. And now the big 4, or rather the sad 4 that I always think about but end up cutting from deck lists just as often. All of these hit for 3 and gain Go Again if they're played from Arsenal. So what better hero, deck and format to play them in than this one right here. If Fervent Forerunner hits, we get to opt 2. With Frontline Scout we may look at our opponent's hand. Scour the Battlescape lets us filter a card from our hand by putting it at the bottom of our deck. If we do, we draw a card. And when we attack with Trade In, we may discard a card and in return draw a card. I know, they're not crazy banger cards, but remember, we wanna have fun with this one. But while we wanna have fun, we're still trying to win of course. And to do that, we will have to buff those attacks with more than just stubby hammerers. For that we will go with the classics as well as something new. Read the Glide Path gives our next arrow attack that turn +3 attack. As we only play 8 arrows, I think that both having this in the deck as well as this being our only arrow specific buff is justified. And even if we want it out of our hand and have no arrow to buff, we can still make use of its opt effect. Of course, it also has Go Again. True Flesh and Blood All-Stars, Mannerism and Nimblism just can't be missing from this list. While Mannerism only gives the next attack action card with base power 3 or less +3 attack, Nimblism will make the next attack action card with cost 1 or less deal 3 additional damage, so every attack in this deck. Both of them, of course, have Go Again. A new attack buff that feels tailor-made for this deck is Scout the Periphery. It not only lets us take a look at the top card of target hero's deck, It will also give the next attack action card we play from Arsenal that turn +3 attack. Go again. So play this card, put an attack into Arsenal through Riptide and play it with +3 damage. It's almost as if it was designed this way. On to the last segment, defense reactions, or traps to be more precise. And let me be honest here, I really have to see this deck in the wild to see if they're actually worth it to play. The reason why I put them in the first place is of course because Riptide will deal 1 damage to our opponent if one of these triggers. And if they're at a low life total, this can get really scary for them. But in order to trigger a trap, we will have to fulfill the conditions written on it. Just playing them as a defense reaction isn't enough to get the 1 damage from your boy Riptide. In the end, it might be better to play 2 Sync Belows, 2 Fate Foreseens and 2 additional buffs, but I will test him with a 6 trap version first. In the end, let me say this once again, this weird deck's main purpose is to have fun. Our first trap is Blood Rot Trap. It blocks for 3 and reads, when this defense and the attacking hero has played or activated a reaction this chain link, create a Blood Rot Pox token under their control. Frailty Trap also blocks 3 damage, and when it defends an attack action card with Go Again, we create a Frailty token under our opponent's control. And then there's Inertia Trap, which of course also blocks for 3. When it defends an attack with power greater than its base power, we create an Inertia token under our opponent's control. And with that, we're done with my Kamina meme Riptide. I hope this deck will bring you and your opponents some laughs when they ask you just what the hell you are playing there. And until the next deck tech video, take care.